Hello and welcome to MotorMotion E-Series, where we continue our 2025 calendar. It's Season 3, Round 4. It's the Sterling Parts Carrera Cup, and we return to the Red Bull Ring, a place that we've gone many a time before here at MotorMotion E-Series. This is a stunning circuit in Spielberg, Styria, Austria. Now, there is a capacity here of 105,000. It's an FIA Grade 1 Grand Prix enabled circuit, opened in 26th of July, 1969, 55 years ago. It was closed for a while, it was renamed, it was reprofiled, reformatted, resurfaced, and I tell you what, this new layout is absolutely something very, very special. 4.3 kilometers, 2.6 miles, and 10 short, chaotic turns all the way through this fantastic place. We have had a great round 3 in the Carrera Cup in round 3 at Spa-Francorchamps, and we are now looking forward to seeing how the tyres and the Porsches and the fuel will make it round this fantastic circuit. So we're going to get into it soon, and of course it is brought to you today by TrackSpotTV. We're going to get into the action in a few moments' time, both Division 1 and Division 2 coming up to your screens in a few moments' time. Proudly continuing our broadcasting partnership between TrackSpotTV and MotorMotion E-Series. We are absolutely stoked to be here, bringing you all the action and the broadcast today. My name is George Cook, CEO of TrackSpotTV, and I'm joined once again by the very eloquent man who flies at 78,000 feet. It is Andrew Scott back in the commentary box. Welcome back in. Round 3 was fantastic, mate. What are we looking forward to in round 4?
Hello, George. Hello, viewers. Yes, great to be back again, and I'm really excited again because this track here at Red Bull, very different from Spa, isn't it? And it's actually one of my favourite tracks. I love racing around here, and probably a frustrating track for a lot with the track limit penalties, especially at turn 1. Probably the most frustrating corner track limit wise in the game. But yeah, I love this track, and the GT3 Porsches around here are going to eat it up, but they will have trouble with their tyres. I think, George, today it's going to be a bit more of a tyre struggle for the guys, and of course fuel always coming into it as well, and then pit strategy. So yeah, really excited to see how this one unfolds. And correct me if I'm wrong, looking at the calendar, I just noticed something about reverse grid. What's that all about, George?
Ooh, it's going to be an interesting one. So we will talk a little bit more about that in a few moments' time.
Sorry, let the cat out of it.
Absolutely right. So continuing our coverage here, it is Sterling Parts Carrera Cup, of course, so thank you very much to Sterling Parts, the Australian company, providing us with support here at MotorMotion E-Series and supporting esports in Australia and New Zealand. Thank you very much to our sponsor. Well, speaking of calendar, here we go. Let's talk a little bit more about it. Red Bull Ring and reverse grid. Yes, this is going to be very, very interesting. So, of course, it is going to be a 30-minute race here today, yet again, but reverse standings. Now, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, but this is reverse standings from the current championship.
Yeah, I believe so. So the qualifying today, I think, is not needed, and the grid's already set. So the championship leaders, our usual suspects, our Fafs and our Donettis, are going to be at the back, mate.
That's right. So looking at the order here, and I've just got the qualifying order up on my screen. We've got Bluey qualified on pole, followed by Jeremy Crow, followed by Rusty, followed by OGR Toolshed. Then it's Shane Attar, GLR Scotty, Water Arrow, Bruce the Shark, Airborne Captain Snooze, Luke Stone in 11th, Faf in 12th, and Matt Donetti starting in last place. Now, this is a man who has won 3 races back-to-back in Division 1. This is going to be a really exciting race to watch because we know that first lap, with all of these potential overtakes at every single corner and big dive bomb zones, I think this is going to create a very spicy lap 1, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely. And the two main contenders for the title there at the back of the field, they're going to have to really have a go. They're going to have to start licking stamps at the very start of this race if they're going to have a chance, because it's not a long race, 30-minute race. It's not a long race to go from last to first. But if anyone can do it, I think old Donetti, he might be on for a last to first challenge tonight.
I think so, and he'll be very keen to continue his run of form. Now, of course, we do need to see Nick Pfaff get some wins in this championship. Otherwise, he is not going to have the points to catch up to Matt Donetti. So if Matt Donetti wins this round, he is all but set to take home a massive, massive trophy, barring any DNFs in the final 2 rounds. 3 rounds to go here today, round 4, 5, and 6. Of course, you're watching round 4 today, the Red Bull Ring. Then we go to St. Croix B, and then it is the finale. It is Mount Panorama, which we will be broadcasting to you in a couple of weeks' time, so stay tuned on that. By the way, you are watching on TrackSpotTV YouTube, TrackSpotTV Twitch, and the MotorMotion E-Series YouTube channel. You can check out TrackSpotTV at TrackSpot.tv, and you can check out MotorMotion E-Series at www.motormotioneseries.wordpress.com. If you want to get involved in this awesome racing, we've got a huge calendar planned, the Manufacturer Masters, the TCR Cup, and the GT3 Championship. It's a big 2025 calendar. Come and get involved. We're on Facebook as well. Come and sign up. So, lots of exciting stuff to think about. The reverse grid is absolutely palpable. I'm super excited. I'm stumbling over my words, Andrew. I'm so excited for this. Can Matt Donetti do it? What is this going to take? Is it going to be doing the same thing as we've seen him do in the previous races, where he saves fuel as much as possible and then tries that overcut in the pit lane?
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to do that, because he's going to have to really, really push at the start, but in a controlled fashion. So the stewards are watching. So any little faux pas, they could be costly. And the interesting one for me, George, is the fact that Faf, who needs a win, he's going to have Donetti behind him at the start of the race. So if Faf can keep Donetti behind him for at least the first few laps, and they both make progress through the field, this could be a chance for Faf to get that much-needed win.
Fantastic. This is going to be super exciting. And yeah, let us know in chat your predictions for Division 1. That's the race that we'll be covering first, and then we'll be moving to, I think, unequivocally, our favorite division, Division 2, for some hectic racing. We're looking forward to that very much, but I believe, Ando, we are pretty much ready to go, and the cars are lining up on the grid, so it's time for us to get out there and experience the action today. Let's go racing. All right, here we are. The lights starting to turn on round 4, of course, and it will be Bluey leading us away from Jeremy Crow. Keep a very close eye on what happens at the beginning of this race. We're away. Green flag racing begins right now, and Bluey get a good exit off the line. Doesn't mean that he's not going to lose a position in this first corner. It's really tricky because Jeremy Crow has sent it down the inside on him already. So Bluey absolutely being demolished in that first corner, and Jeremy Crow out to a fantastic early lead. OGR Toolshed in there just ahead of Shane Addard. Rusty is already losing places down to P5 already, followed by GLR Scotty. They're 3 wide as we head up into Remus. This is going to be a scary, scary bit of racing from all these guys. 3 wide through the corner. That's a CP Motorsports car of Water Arrow going around the outside. Might be pinged by the stewards for that one, but he has gained a number of places as a result of that. Matt Donetti is up to P9 already. Luke Stone is in P11, and Nick Pfaff up to P11. No, Luke Stone in P10. They're all side by side as we head into Schloss Gold for the first time, and Matt Donetti is just making overtake after overtake. It's a real scrap from P6 and all the way down. Jeremy Crow still in the lead, now in towards Worth, the inner loop section here. Such a scary place to be if you're side by side with another car, and that outside line is awfully close to the gravel trap. Let's go through the S's now. Matt Donetti up into 7th. He's looking to an overtake on Rusty. Looks like he'll probably find it, but he's really close. There's a car off in the background. Don't know who that is, but there is a CP car way off in the gravel trap at the rear of the field. Matt Donetti looking through the last couple of corners to go on the inside line of Rusty, and there's a little bit of contact between the two into Red Bull Mobile Curve, and this is going to be the run down to the line, and 1 lap done already. It's such a short lap, but I'll tell you, there's so much action for us to see. Matt Donetti made huge progress early on in this race. So it's Jeremy Crow from Bluey, from Shane Attard, from OGR Toolshed, from Bruce the Shark, from Rusty, and then, of course, no longer, because Matt Donetti has already made the move. Andrew, he is absolutely swimming through this field right now.
Yeah, he's flying, mate. So he's had an absolute cracker over lap 1. He got really, I won't say lucky, but he made a really good decision into turn 1 by switching to the outside, and he went round a bunch of cars and carried great momentum down the first straight out of turn 1. And then it just got better and better for him. It's like the seas have parted. He's doing a Moses here, mate.
Certainly is. That's a 1-second penalty for Rusty. We just saw that come up on our screens. Looks like GLR Scotty has dropped to the back of the field as well, and they're still going 2 and 3 wide through most of these corners, so still a real scrap as the order starts to sort itself out. That's Nick Pfaff in P7, still charging after Matt Donetti. but got overtaken in the early parts of this race. So what we were talking about before, Ando, Matt Donetti has already leapfrogged his nearest competitor in this championship.
Yeah, he's doing okay though, Faf. He's still in touch with Donetti, and he's making progress through the field as well. So although he's not in front of Donetti, he's still relevant. He's still there. So he's got a chance. Let's see how he goes on fuel and tyres.
Absolutely right. Fastest lap of the race set by Jeremy Crow, then Bluey to 129.9, sorry, and then Donetti, of course, takes it away from them with a 129.7, despite running in all that traffic. Captain Snooze in P8, Luke Stone, I believe, was the driver that made a mistake earlier on. It could have been Water Arrow. We'll keep an eye. No, it was actually Airborne. So Airborne was the one who made that mistake at the S's, Ando, and that's a 1.5-second penalty to his name as well.
Yeah, it just goes from bad to worse for him. But it was actually, I believe, GLR Scotty was the one that got a little bit out of shape through the S's, and he had a little swapsy moment and made contact with Airborne, and poor old Airborne got sent off, and that one might go to the stewards.
Oh, dude, nice little scrap between these two, and of course Airborne making the position up there in turn 3. Now looking at the front of the field, Jeremy Crow leading away, a quite healthy lead at the moment. Racing soft tyres are the choice for all the drivers at this initial stage of the race. Then it's Bluey. Oh, he's got a 0.5-second penalty. It's just penalties everywhere. This is the nature of Red Bull Ring, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and there's a lot of variance with the amount of grip around the track too. They've just gone through turn, I believe it's 8 there. That's probably the slipperiest part of the track, especially in the wet. So they've got to watch themselves the whole time around here. There's track limits almost at every corner.
That's right. The stewards, the live stewards, technically, the game stewards, I should say, watching on with a diligent eye, making sure everyone is being within the white lines. And there we go. There's another move happening in the background. Looks like Faf trying to make a move on Brucey into the first corner. It's a nice move up the inside. Does get a little bit squirrely as he hits that inside curve and runs deep. That forces Bruce the Shark to right onto the sausage curve. Awkward turn 1, isn't it? I mean, even when you're going through their single file, it's just so difficult.
It is, and those two drivers did a great job just then. They kept it clean through turn 1, and that's still going on now. And Fap, he might prevail here. They both get squirrely out of turn 3, and Fap prevails, and he's on now. He's got to get after Donetti and try and stay in touch with him. But I tell you what, Donetti's on a charge. What's he up to 4th now already? And he's moving through the field, and I think he's doing pretty good on fuel, George. He's actually short shifting, but he's still carving up the field.
Incredible stuff. So, you know, he well and truly is going to win the award for Hot Knife Through Butter of the competition award. That is for absolutely sure. We'll keep an eye on his progress throughout the race. At the moment, we're on board with Captain Wakefield, who's been a really fast competitor. He's proven himself throughout many, many leagues that he races in, including now here at MotorMotion E-Series. There's a penalty actually there served by Nick Pfaff. Looks like Pfaff has had a penalty. He's had to slow down for it. Bruce the Shark wants a piece of it. He's not able to get his jaws quite into it, and that opens up an opportunity for the driver we're on board with right now. Great shots from the onboard camera as we headed through that, and Captain Snooze able to make his way on through Glenn Mead, who's lost a place to OGR Toolshed as well. He's got the inside line into turn 1. That's going to be all set and done, unless Glenn Mead is going to try all around the outside. Does so, and that's a huge accident. Massive accident, Ando.
Oh my God, was that Bruce? Yes, it was. Oh God, he got the raw end of the deal with that penalty, didn't he? He got shuffled out of the way, lost 2 positions, and then a bit of red mist maybe descended upon him over the start-finish line, and he just got a bit eager on the throttle there out of turn 1, and that's so easy to do, George, in any car, but especially these Porsches. Once you light up the rears, around you go, and there's not much chance of catching him.
That's right. It looks like it was slightly assisted by the driver who was around him. I think that was OGR Toolshed, who was trying to take advantage of Glenn Mead's involuntary situation that he was being put in by Nick Pfaff's penalty, as well as the send up the inside from another driver. So it was really unlucky for Glenn Mead. He was a man in the wrong place at the wrong time, well and truly.
Yeah. Oh, and Donetti goes wide there. Is that a penalty? Surely that's a penalty. No, he manages to avoid it. What happened there, George? He was way outside the track limits, but he's avoided a penalty. He's kept the car pointed in the right direction, and he's up to 3rd, making progress. Look how much fuel he's got. What's going on with his fuel? he must be short shifting, but he's now about to make a move for P2.
I was going to say, yeah, Bluey is the next one in line for this. He's in P2. Jeremy Crow has actually established quite a decent lead, but look how much speed he carries through the apex there. So much more than Bluey, and that's going to be an easy overtake on the outside line. Actually, Bluey didn't get too bad of an exit, and he'll have the inside line into turn 3. But yeah, something about this man is absolutely whispering sweet nothings to that fuel tank, saying, you know, don't want you guys to be disappearing. Want to have as much liters of friends as possible in the fuel tank. There's something about what this man is doing. He is absolutely managing the tires, managing the fuel. He's thinking about every aspect of what he's doing in that race car. I mean, look at this. Last place to second. We're only on the 6th lap of this race, Ando. We're not even 33% of the way through.
Yeah, it's just his attention to detail, especially around this track. You know, some curbs, you want to use them, and on others you don't. You want to stay off them. You need to know where the track limits are. You need to use all the track. He's doing everything right. He knows exactly how much grip he's got in those front tires, especially at the start of the race there. Like, if you've got confidence in your car and you know what your front tires are capable of at the start of the race, you can lick stamps and send it like there's no tomorrow. And he did exactly that, and he's now reaping the rewards. But he's now settling into a nice rhythm, a nice pace. He's setting fastest lap after fastest lap. But I see there that Faf also is setting some blistering pace, so he's still there as well. He's got half a chance here of a good result as well. But there's no doubting that Danetti now might be looking good for the win here.
Moment there for Nick Pfaff on the exit of turn 1. He's overtaken Shane Attard. He's fallen down into P5. Now under attack from Captain Snooze. Yeah, Nick Pfaff on a bit of a charge too. Needs to find his way back up to the podium positions. He's got one more car ahead. A little bit of scrapping going on behind us as Shane Attard defends his position against a very fast Captain Wakefield. So let's keep an eye on that battle. We're on the rear wing of Bluey right now, watching Nick Pfaff try and make his way on through. And I can already see that Matt Danetti has taken a couple of seconds out of Jeremy Crow already. Truly a matter of when, not if, he's going to catch up. The question is, can he do a nice clean overtake like he's been doing in the rest of this race? That is going to be the question. We're about 5 minutes away from the point where we see some pit stops start to evolve. And Andrew, I think we do need to start talking about whether or not you want to be undercutting or overcutting at a track like this.
Yeah, I think it might be down to tyre life, and they might all just have to split the race in two and just manage those worn tyres. But Danetti, yeah, I think he's going to pass him in the pits, George. I don't think he's going to need to make a move for first position. He's got so much fuel on board compared to his opponents. He's going to save about 3 or 4 seconds in the pit stop. But yeah, this battle in the minor placings here, how good's the reverse grid, George? I love it. I love this reverse grid. It always produces such good racing, and the battle here for the minor positions is not over. It's going to be a cracker from here to the end of the race.
That's right, yeah. The reverse grid really shows us the mettle and the level of skill that these faster drivers who are in the lead of the championship show. And, you know, from a league organizer perspective, you're going, yep, well, it helps to mix up the mix up the standings a little bit, give some people some points, maybe, that they maybe wouldn't have got if they had a traditional qualifying. But in this case, Matt Danetti is, I mean, this is going to be a real stamp on his championship here today. He's halfway through the season, has won every single race so far. Nick Pfaff has to win this race, assuming Matt Danetti would, of course, be in P2 for the remainder of the season. Nick Pfaff has to win this race, otherwise he has got no shot of taking that championship badge away from Matt Danetti. So this is a real stamp here. I don't think the league organizers were necessarily thinking that these drivers were going to be this good to cut through the field in the way that they've done.
No, Pfaff and Danetti have really driven superbly. I haven't seen anything incident-worthy, anything worthy of the stewards. They've just done it with pure skill to get themselves up to the front here, to get some points, and they're having a ding-dong battle here for the championship. So my hat's off to them.
That's right. You flick down the field and you can see Luke Stone fall into P8. OGR Toolshed lost all those positions after the contact earlier on at turn 1. Bruce the Shark. Now, of course, he hasn't come into the pit stop. You are seeing that right. He is in 10th place right now and being chased down by Airborne just behind him. So a couple of battles going on throughout the field. This here is one of them. Gila Scotty has had a night to remember. Oh, Ando, that was a close one.
He nearly ended up in the fence, didn't he? He just caught it. What a catch. Nice catch, Scotty.
Well done, Scotty. Of course, Scott Taylor, team owner of Gridline Racing, which is the team, obviously, he's driving for today. Great livery, one of our favorites on the grid. And, of course, he is the owner of the TCR Cup and one of the admins at MotorMotion E-Series. So he returns to the racing in the number 37 car. He's a great man to go racing with, Ando. I love racing against this man.
Yeah, and I believe he might be the head steward too. So he might not be the most popular guy around on the grid because of that. But no, he does a lot for the league. And yeah, great liverist and great team owner. I've raced under him. And yeah, he's just a really good team player and a really good advocate for MotorMotion.
Absolutely right. Of course, everyone who's in the know knows about the super secret agreement between Me Cougar Driver Development and Gridline Racing, where they were able to get access to the supercomputer powering Me Cougar Driver Development. So that looks to have continued to this day. We shall see. A couple of people in the pits at the moment. So that's early stops, only 14 minutes through this race, and 29 litres for Campbell Knowles, airborne. He has done pretty well to save fuel, actually.
Yeah, so he's looking good, and they're attempting the undercut, I believe. So pitting on lap 9, they're not quite halfway through the race, although it's at lap 10 for them now.
It is now lap 10.
Oh, they're just starting lap 10, yeah. So they're pitted after 9 laps, so they're going to have to do, I think, 11. I think this is going to be a 20-lap race, so they're going to have to now do 11 laps. They're attempting the undercut. Let's see if it works for them.
Absolutely, and of course that is a 98-litre refuel there for Nathan Wakefield. Gets out on nice, fresh, racing soft tyres, and he'll be able to go long towards the end of this race. Slightly less fuel on board for Campbell Knowles, though, only 95 litres. I wonder if it's going to be enough to get to the end. Of course, all the options available to them, fuel maps and short shifting and lifting and coasting. That is going to be the way. Now we look at the top of the battle, and, well, I tell you what, Birdman, Jeremy Crow, has not saved fuel at all in this race. I suspect he'll be in. Yes, he is, as is Matt Donetti. And look at the fuel advantage, Ando.
Wow.
There's got to be a 20-litre difference there.
Yeah, so this is a good 3 or 4 seconds. And as you saw, viewers, he's right on his hammer coming into the pits. As we see most of the drivers coming in now on lap 10, as we predicted, splitting the race in half because of the tyre wear. And Donetti's going to pass him in the pits here, George. This is going to be just a lay-down misère, unfortunately.
That's right. So look at the pit mechanics do their work, and the fuel does start to go in for Jeremy Crow. The question is going to be, will Matt Donetti, with his fuel advantage, get out ahead? We think he will. Luke Stone, Water Arrow, Bluey, Matt Donetti, Shane Attard in the pits. Bruce the Shark comes into the pits as well, as does Nick Pfaff. Gila Scotty, currently in provisional P2, needs to come in for a stop as well. And we've got 2 drivers going for the slightly longer distance approach here, including OGR Toolshed.
Yeah, so these 2 are going for overcuts, and I'm not sure that's the right strategy. So let's see if they can do it. Their tyres are screaming for Blue Mercy. They're going to be in the 32s here on this in-lap, so I'm not sure they're going to make any ground. They might lose ground here, I think, George.
I think so. And there we go. Confirmation. Matt Donetti has done it again, and he has jumped his nearest competitor in the pit lane with a keen refueling strategy, where he actually just refuels less than the other person by saving fuel in the first stint. Excellent work yet again from Matt Donetti, and Birdman is about the distance he was ahead, now behind Matt Donetti. So unfortunately his chances, I suspect, of getting a P1 today, barring any mistake from Matt Donetti, are pretty much over, and he's going to have to worry about the man behind him, Nick Pfaff. But look who's there. It's Captain Snooze.
Yeah, but those 2 guys have underfueled, and Donetti and Birdman, funnily enough, are similar on fuel. So Donetti has been generous with his refuel amount. He's not going to have to worry about fuel to the end of the race. But Pfaff and Captain Snooze, I think, is a different story. Let's see if they can get after Birdman. I'll tell you what, George, if Birdman can hang on to this net P2 that he's in right now, that'll be a great result for him, won't it?
Oh, it certainly will be. I mean, he's not had a top 3 result this season so far in Division 1. He's found himself solidly in the mid-pack, so this has been a great drive, and he was able to get away nice and early. We know he's quick and clean air, but he's never really had a good opportunity to do that this season so far. So P2 for him at the moment is a fantastic result, but yeah, I mean, he's got the right amount of fuel on board, he's got nice fresh tires, and he's just going to have to get his head down, not focus on the car ahead, probably not going to be able to catch up to Matt Donetti now that he's away and running away with things. But Nick Pfaff, I get the feeling Jeremy Crow could probably do a few things here, you know, toss the old defensive 101 book out that window and see if it bounces off Nick Pfaff's window or if it gets stuck.
Yeah, I've raced both of these guys, and they're both very fast drivers, very capable. Captain Snooze as well, Luke Stone as well. So, old Birdman, Jeremy Crow, he's got a couple or maybe three really fast drivers behind him, but two of them have under fuel. So, it's advantage Birdman right now, George, if you ask me.
This will be an exciting end of this race. Let's have a little look through the rest of the grid. It is Luke Stone in P6, followed by Water Arrow for CP Motorsports in P7. Little slip there as he enters Worth Curve, or exits Worth Curve, I should say. Then it's OGR Toolshed, who went for a bit of an overcut strategy. Look at the amount of fuel he's got on board, Ando. That's bizarre. There's nothing on there.
Yeah, he might have miscalculated. His pit crew might have made a mistake there or something, but he's going to be struggling to get to the end of this race, I think, without having to pit again.
That's right, and of course that's Scotty in the pits now for GLR. Gridline Racing comes in with 1 litre of fuel.
Wow.
Then we'll get it going again. But yeah, as he said before, those who stayed out, which includes OGR Toolshed, probably not going to be having the best of times in the rest of this race there. In the case of OGR Toolshed, has underfueled the car. In the case of Gridline Racing Scotty, he's gone out maybe one more lap than he really needed to. That's going to cost him a bit of lap time, but we'll see where he pops out in the rest of the order. Bluey in P8, followed by Shane Assard. In P9, followed by Campbell Knowles, and the number 38 CP2 Motorsports car. Then is Glenn Mead. He's got plenty of fuel on board and will be running to the end. And yeah, it's a solemn and solitary P12 for Gridline Racing Scotty. Looks like he hasn't actually got as much fuel as some of the competitors ahead of him either, Ando. So whether or not he's able to catch up or overtake is, well, got 10 minutes to do it. There's got to be some blisteringly quick laps for him to really get back into the fray. Final person on the grid there is Rusty. And of course, we've seen Rusty just stoically staying in the competition in that 269. Very, very pink, very, very shiny car. Love the livery, love the work this man does. And you can't take anything away from someone, even if they don't have the pace to be in a division like this. I'll tell you what, it is absolutely a matter of respect to this driver that they stick at it.
Absolutely. I mean, he's in Div 1, and that's for a reason. He's capable, and he just maybe hasn't had the best of seasons, but yeah, he definitely deserves to be here. And he's given it a red-hot crack. He turns up every week, and he's a credit to the league. It's a credit to him that he's definitely an asset to the league.
Round 4, 50 more points, staring down at the checkered flag for this man right here, Matt Donetti. Gone from last place on the grid with the reverse grid here at Red Bull Ring all the way to the top spot, and that number 1 on his car is looking ever more ominous the further we go in this season, and he's almost mathematically tying it up for this season, assuming he hasn't got a DNF in the next couple of races. He will essentially tie up the championship at this point here, but I think he'll be going for the 6 out of 6, wouldn't you?
Got to go for the clean sweep, yeah, and he's in the 28s now. He's driving clinically, putting on a clinic again. What's his gap there? We can't tell on our screens, but it's a good 3 or 4 seconds he's got. And look at this battle now, Birdman and Pfaff, though. This is heating up now, George, isn't it?
Certainly is. And we'll go on board with Nick Pfaff, so we'll do an onboard lap and see the kind of progress he's able to make. The question's really, as we said before, it's going to be, does he have enough fuel to actually make it through? And I don't know what strategy that I would execute here. I think I'd be looking to take more fuel, if anything, and then really rev the car out. But when I did drive in the Carrera Cup, I had my own team, Kung Fu Racing, in for a season. I found that short shifting the car was just so easy, because you can be essentially doing fast, reasonably qualifying-esque times while short shifting in these cars.
Well, I can tell you, George, right now the Mikuga supercomputers came up with the optimal shift point for us, and I hate to give anything away, but Danetti seems to be, he got the memo on it. And let's say that you do not need to rev it right out to
Yeah.
get the best value out of this car.
That's right. That's exactly what I figured out as well. It's a, let's just say two words, power band. Anyway, rapidly moving on before we reveal all the secrets to Porsche GT3 racing. There is a lot of complexity as well in the smoothness of your driving, because at the end of the day, it's not just about that shift point. It doesn't matter how well you shift or where you shift if your tires are absolutely gone.
Yeah, so it's all about knowing how much grip you got in those front tyres and looking after them, because the lobby settings for Carrera Cup are such that tyre wear is an issue. You have to make sure you don't hammer them, but also, you know, it is about raw pace as well. This is effectively a little bit of a sprint race, and drivers like Danetti and Pfaff, they know exactly what they can get out of these Porsches. They're a bit of a unique car in that they're an MR car. They've got epic mid-corner grip, as I'm sure you know, George. And the minute you think about applying the throttle, though, on corner exit, you're going to be understeering wide. So you've got to figure out a way to get the car rotated, get it slowed down and rotating at the apex so that you can get back on the throttle nice and early, but not run out of track on exit, you know. And especially here at Red Bull Ring, where there's a track limit penalty looming at almost every corner.
That's
As
right.
we see some action here, Pfaff's having a crack. Looks like he's got the job done. Where are we? Into we're into the S's now, so he's got the job done there into turn 4, which is a classic overtaking corner. And that looked like a pretty clean move, George. He's on into P4. Let's see if he can drive away now with it.
Yeah, that was really clean. Just down the inside late on the brakes, and you know, you get the downshifting absolutely right, and the car will turn. It never really feels like it wants to turn, Anto, but if you get the downshifting just right, it will turn in. He got it turned in nicely. Jeremy Crow, of course, had to give him racing room. Beautiful racing between these two, and yeah, unfortunately for Jeremy Crow, that's the position that we really wanted to see him finish in today. Won't be that way unless Nick Pfaff makes a mistake.
Well, let's see what happens with the fuel situation, because Pfaff's now going to have to short shift or save some fuel, whereas Birdman, Jeremy Crow, he can rev it out, and he can have a crack. So it's not over yet. But yeah, into turn 4 there, I think Jeremy Crow made a little mistake there. He should have covered him off. When you've got someone like Pfaff or Danetti behind you and you don't shut the door, if you shut it, even if you shut it partially, they're going to still invite themselves in, aren't they? They're going to lick that stamp and send it, and that's what we saw there with Pfaff, and we also saw with Danetti on lap 1 there. He got the job done numerous times on the first lap of the race. So you've really got to watch your mirrors in this category in Div 1 here, and if you've got one of the top guns behind you, you've got to cover them off. You've got to shut the door, and I don't think Birdman did it into turn 4 there.
No, I think it all kicked off at turn 3, actually. He got just as you said the words oversteering, he managed to oversteer and miss the corner in turn 3, which is such a critical zone because it's a tricky corner for these Porsches to navigate, first of all, because you've got to get the rotation absolutely spot on at those lower speeds. But then it's all about how you apply the power out of a corner that's essentially off camber and uphill. Very, very awkward scenario and balance for the car to be in. And so unfortunately for Birdman, he not only missed the apex, didn't really get the power down as much as he needed to, and then didn't cover off the inside line into turn 4. All of that together meant that Nick Pfaff was able to breeze past him.
Yeah, and I mean, I hear what you're saying there, George. He didn't get the greatest of exits out of turn 3, but I don't think there was an overlap into the braking zone at turn 4 there. I think Pfaff just outbroke him, and he was invited to the party because Birdman stayed to the outside, and Pfaff said, "Thank you very much. I'm just going to brave it here. I know what my front tyres are capable of. I'm going to brake heavily, pull it up, and turn it in, and I'm not going to make contact with you, and I'm just going to take that P2 away from you."
Here we go, battle for P9. And it's going to be Glenn Mead defending against Shane Attard, and they're going to go side by side into Remus. A little bit of contact there on the exit, but I think that's a fair pass by Shane Attard for P9.
Yeah, I think so. Like a little bit of how you going there, mate. But yeah, poor old George, Bruce, he is not having the best of races today, is he? He's obviously something's not gelling with him, the car, or the circuit, and he's sitting there in P10, which is a little bit lower than he usually sits. So let's hope he can maybe bring it home and come back here at Shane Attard. But that was a nice clean move for me.
Yeah, wasn't too bad at all. Shane Attard, of course, well-known name throughout MotorMotion E-Series, and he's returned, of course, for the Sterling Parts Carrera Cup, brought to you by MotorMotion E-Series, Season 3, Round 4. And we are 2 minutes away from the end of Division 1's race. Division 2 coverage coming up for you after a short break. So we will continue to focus on the action around the grid. And I'll tell you what, these conditions here, Ando, have been interesting. It's gone from sunny to very overcast in a short space of time, and that's typical of Austria.
Yeah, and I'm not sure on the lobby settings, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it random? Because if it is, there's always the little chance, and it might be very small, but there's always that little chance of some wet running.
Which we would absolutely love to see. I tell you what, actually, I do love Red Bull Ring as well. I'm a big fan of driving at this place. It's such a good circuit and so technically challenging. Small mistakes can really lead to big incidents, and I love a bit of rain around here, even as a driver.
Yeah, wow, I tell you what, that's going to throw a cat amongst the pigeons if it happens. But yeah, I agree with you, George. It's a great track. It's an easy track in that it's easy to set a decent lap time around here, but it's really hard to set a world-class time around here. Like, as you get up to the A-plus driver level, and to set a 28 around here, I tell you, is not easy. You've got to hook up a perfect lap, and it's not a long circuit. It's just the 10 corners, but you've got to get 10 perfect corners in, and you've got to avoid a track limit. You've got to flirt with the track limit penalty the whole way round, and then you might get a 28, mate. You might, if you're lucky.
That's right. Matt Donetti here, though, just saying, you know what, it's a casual Sunday drive. Those 28s flowing like the champagne that will be flowing in his pit box once this race is over. P5, Luke Stone, followed by Water Arrow in P6, and his OGR Toolshed made it back up to P7. We were worried about his fuel, but he's actually managed it quite well. Behind him it is Bluey, Shane Attard, Bruce Shark, airborne with a 1 second penalty, followed by Scotty, who might just take a position away from Campbell Knowles, and that is Rusty, who has actually got a 1.5 second penalty and is blue flagged in this race, because through comes the man of the hour, or the man of the half an hour, I should say, Matt Donetti on the final lap of this race, Ando. What a drive from this man here. He'll be taking the checkered flag in a couple of corners' time.
Yeah, lapping the field in a 30-minute race is pretty impressive, and he's gapped Fath, hasn't he? He's got a good 6 or 7 second lead, so he's put his stamp on this race. He really has. Driven a perfect race as he comes through turn 10 there, and takes the checkered flag, flashes the lights, steers over towards the head, the steward with the checkered flag, and takes the win.
And then we got Nick Pfaff, followed by Jeremy Crow. A very, very good podium for Jeremy Crow. First podium of his Season 3 campaign. Then it is Nathan Wakefield, followed by Luke Stone in P5. Water Arrow, OGR Toolshed order looking pretty stable for the most part across the line. And yeah, that is going to be our race. And Matt Donetti, what a masterclass. The first 3 races were a masterclass where he went first to first. Now he's done the true guru thing, which is last to first. And that first couple of laps for him were absolutely magnanimous. Stunning, stunning work by that man right here. And I tell you what, Matt Donetti, take a bow on this one. Mathematically seals up the championship, assuming no DNS going forward. And there you have it from a reverse grid. This is the order. And Ando, I'll give it to you to take us through the final results.
Okay, so yeah, well done, Matt Donetti. He's all but wrapped up the championship with the win there from Nick Pfaff. So both those drivers had a really good race going from the back of the field to the podium. Jeremy Crow there holds on to a podium spot, so well done, Birdman. Really good result for him. From Nathan Wakefield, then Luke Stone, and Riley Easter. I'm not sure who's that. I'm not sure what his PSN name is there. But from Drew Griffin, then Steve Smith for Black Rose Racing in 8th, Shane Attard in 9th, Glenn Mead, Brucey got a decent result there, got into the top 10. after a round that didn't really pan out for him. But Campbell Knowles there, P11, Scott Taylor, P12. He held on there. He didn't have the greatest of races either for himself. Maybe got the strategy slightly wrong. And then Craig Harcourt, Rusty Nuts in last position. We've got 3 DNSs. Gopi Mahindashit, who would have been good to see around here, mate. I think he loves it around here, this track. So unfortunate that he missed out. Hayden Sampson and Jackson Dean, the other 2 DNSs.
There we go. Yeah, and I believe Riley Easter, that is Water Arrow, I think. So we'll double check that.
Ah, right.
Yeah, we'll double check it, but I think that's Water Arrow. We'll double check it. Always a bit difficult here in the commentary box when there's so many names and so many PSN names to remember. And of course, that's not just PSN names, of course. It is also, I believe, driver names. Yeah, driver nicknames and car names and real names. So not an easy job for us here in the commentary box.
Not easy being a commentator. No, absolutely not at all. It's hard.
It is hard.
Come on. Yeah, GT7, come on, help us out here. Throw us a bone.
Throw us a bone, please. Please, oh, please, oh, please. By the way, if you do want to join the ranks of TrackSpotTV as a commentator or a broadcaster, you're more than welcome to apply on the website TrackSpot.tv. You can go to TrackSpot.tv/team/register and get yourself involved. Send us a note. Tell us what you're interested in doing. We also do a lot of training and teaching at TrackSpotTV as well, in series like the Carrera Cup here at MotorMotion E-Series. And if you want broadcasting, you're more than welcome to go to the TrackSpot.tv website and click the register for broadcasting link. So that's going to be our race today, but we have to talk very quickly about driver of the day. Chat, let us know who your driver of the day is in that lovely chat box. And in the meantime, I think we need to have a little chat about it. And my clear, obvious preference here is Jeremy Crow. He's a privateer. He's running alone, and that was a good race. He started on 2nd position, I believe, so he was right at the back of the field in terms of points. Started at the top, had a good race, had a clean race, just couldn't hold on from Nick Pfaff, but overall a very good effort, I think.
Yeah, a great effort. But I tell you what, George, in basketball, they talk about a triple-double. In cricket, maybe a double century. In other sports, there are these moments, maybe in baseball, a no-hitter, but in racing, it's the last to first challenge. So if you can pull off a last to first challenge, I don't care what race you're in, but if you can do it, I think you deserve driver of the day. So my driver of the day today goes to Danetti.
Good call there. So let us know in chat. Do you agree with Andrew? Do you agree with me? Let us know. We're interested to see your feedback. Okay, we're going to go to a short break. Of course, now before we head to our Division 2 coverage, so grab yourself a cold one, get yourself ready, and we'll be back in 5 minutes' time. Hello and welcome back to MotorMotion E-Series as we continue our coverage of Season 3, Round 4 here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. And of course, it is the Sterling Parts Carrera Cup. And now it is time for your Division 2 coverage. That was an impressive race in Division 1 there by Matt Donetti, and truly a master of this circuit and also his fuel tank. Wonderful stuff from him, but the question is going to be, how is Division 2 going to handle this reverse grid? We already know that a standard grid with Division 2 brings a lot of action, Ando, but a reverse grid? Oh boy, this is going to be spicy.
Oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to the first lap of this race. That's for sure, George. You know, it's going to be interesting to see if anyone got the memo on where the optimum shift point is on these cars, because we just saw there with Matt Donetti, he inherited the lead basically of that race in the pit. So let's see if someone else might be able to pull that one off today. But yeah, lap one's going to be a real treat. Let's see if the stewards come into play or not, and let's see if there's some winners and losers out of that infamous turn one.
That's right. So looking at the results, of course, from last week in round 3, it was Dave Chucky on pole position. Well, sorry, he actually won the race, I should say. So Dave Chucky for CP Motorsports won it by a landslide, followed by Mitchell Collin and Bob Massey, Rick Atwell in P4, and Troy Britnell in P5. So the reverse grid looks like this. It's Uncle Mark, followed by Fly, followed by Blue Dog, followed by Legendary Berry in P4, Robinson in P5 for MotorMotion Racing Team. Then it is RPM, Hodges, Chase, Calculated Risk, surprise, surprise. Then it is Dylan Scarborough in P10, Hasseldine in P11, Troy Britnell in P12, Madrick in 13th, Mitchell Collin in 14th, and of course P1 Skippy. All eyes are going to be on him today because this is a 15-car grid, Ando. Only one person not serving today. So that is going to be a really, really spicy bit of racing. Seeing P1 Skippy and Mitch Collin going at it at the beginning of this race is going to be incredible. Let us know in chat who your potential driver of the day is, or let us know who you think is going to do good in this race. But yes, I am predicting, Ando, a very spicy beginning to this race. Let's see how we go out there. Any initial predictions, Ando, or we just expecting it to be chaos?
Yeah, it could be chaos, but I think that these guys are good. They're learning their trade. It's round 4. They're going to keep it clean. So the guys at the back should be able to emulate what the Div 1 guys did and work their way through and come up to at least some podium positions. But I think there's a chance here that someone might be able to pull off a win out of nowhere. If some of those front runners that have obviously, because of the reverse grid, inherited those front row positions, if they can keep it clean, they've got every chance to win this race.
Going to be a fascinating one. Well, no time like the present, and we are ready to go on track. So let's get out there and begin our Division 2 coverage. Here we go. Uncle Mark on pole position, followed by Fly accompanying him on the first row of the grids. 5 lights are on. False grid starts will be penalized, and away we go. A little bit of a bad start there for RPM, but it's Uncle Mark away nicely inside line. For Fly, though, as Legendary Berry is crying up the inside. What a start from him. Started way down the field ever so slightly, and argy-bargy happening already. 4 wide at the front of the field. That's absolutely magic. We've got a car around already at the back of the field, and Legendary Berry is ahead. Robinson is around early in this race, barreling now down towards turn 3, and these cars are absolutely everywhere. Legendary Berry has gone super deep into Remus. All that work he did to get those positions at the beginning of this race, all for nothing. And now he's 3x3 with RPM, who's way up there for One Bite Racing. Had a bit of an average start, but has managed to pull that right back. Blue Dog now in P2 in this race. Calculated Risk up 4 places already. Dylan Scarborough up 5 places from P12 now up to P7. Hodges still holding on to P6 as we head now towards Worth in the inner loop of this circuit. Is Legendary Berry from Calculated Risk. Now Calculated Risk, we of course know, super quick in this division. He's up ahead of Marty McFarty already. You can see the Castrol Live Read car just in the foreground of your screen right now, and look at the rear of the field. They're absolutely everywhere. Let's check in on the back of the field. Skippy up to P12, only 3 places made at the beginning of this race. Fly, who started on P2, all the way down on 14th already, followed by Robinson, who spun at turn 1, but 1 lap down, and it is Uncle Mark, started on P1, holds that position all the way through the beginning of this race, and he's actually built a bit of a gap back to Blue Dog, who's really well and truly becoming the cork in the bottle.
Yeah, he's got a gaggle of cars behind him, but he's not too far out of the way there from Uncle Mark. He might be getting a little bit of slip assistance here as he barrels on down into turn 3, but they've finally sorted themselves out, George, and they've kept it clean, and my hat's off to them. And someone's trying to move, diving into turn 2 there, and that's not going to, oh God, he's going to lose a lot of spots there. He's going to lose at least 2 there. Was it Legendary Barry got too slow there through turn 3, collected the yellow sausage, and he paid the price, but they've sort of sorted themselves out, and he's got a penalty too. Captain, is that, no, calculated risk, he does have a penalty. He's made multiple positions, hasn't he, George? But he's got a penalty.
That's right, yeah. I don't know where he got it, but I'm suspecting it's turn 1, most likely of all places. He was carrying a lot of speed through there. And yeah, that was a move in turn 3 by Legendary Berry on the inside of RPM, but RPM, under braking, moves directly over towards the apex and really just cut the front nose off of Legendary Berry's car. And oh, there's so much action everywhere, and that's going to be Mitchell Collin diving down the inside, and that was the serving of the penalty from calculated risk.
He didn't move over. He stayed on the racing line, which is a little bit of a faux pas there. So, you know, that created a lot of confusion there into turn 9. But thankfully, no tears.
That's right, as we look on board the battle now, which is the battle for P3, and RPM doesn't want to give an inch. She's got the inside line. Legendary Berry made a pretty decent move up the inside of turn 1, but ran a little bit deep, couldn't get the power down, and look who's behind them. It's Dylan Scarborough. He's coming in, wants to be part of the fray. Big move up the inside there from Dylan Scarborough. He's got the inside line, forces Legendary Berry very, very wide, but this has opened the floodgates for Mitchell Collin to come on by the Castrol Live Read car in P6 now. So Mitchell Collin looking for the 2 for 1 as soon as possible, up to P5, and now hunting up that P4 position.
Yeah, great little opportunistic move there from him, and he's managed to make it stick. But Marty McFarty, he's on a mission. He's not giving up, and it's not over just yet.
Certainly isn't. Into the inner loop so we go, and towards the S's, and Dylan Scarborough has got calculated risk right behind him. So that penalty for calculated risk absolutely causing all sorts of mayhem throughout the field. Now finds himself in P7 behind the driver we're on board with right now, Hodges in P8. And I'm really impressed by these guys in P1, P2, P3, holding on to positions for a number of laps. We're already on lap 3, coming up to the start of lap 4, and Uncle Mark has just held on beautifully. It's a reverse standings. He's started on pole position. He's made his start very, very nicely, and that's another penalty I just got a glimpse of. 0.5 second penalty for Legendary Berry in P3.
Oh, yeah, they seem to be stumbling over each other here in the minor placings. These guys that are technically faster drivers, but drivers like Uncle Mark et al. Are just reaping the rewards. Uncle Mark's still in P1 on lap 4 of this race. He's not your usual suspect, is he, George, to be at the front of the field? But let's see if he can pull off a win here or a podium. That would be a great result for him.
Certainly would be, and he's got Blue Dog right on his tails now, so that's going to be very, very tricky. And Mitchell Collin looking for a little bit of a move, trying to psychologically pressure RPM, but it's not come of anything this time as they headed through Schloss Gold. This 0.5 second penalty is going to be really scary, and I hope Legendary Berry gets off the racing line, because look at the gaggle of cars right behind them. You serve a penalty, you need to be off that racing line to make sure you don't end up in an accident.
Yeah, I mean, half a second's not a lot either, so you don't lose a lot of speed, so it can come to a head into turn 9, absolutely. So, yeah, he's pulled off the line, he's done the right thing.
Excellent work. Oh, Blue Dog trying to make a move around the outside, as well as we see cars barreling onto the inside of everyone elsewhere. Legendary Berry has actually held onto that position from RPM, so that's incredibly well done by the man from Gridline Racing. Stunning work, and RPM is now still under pressure from Mitchell Collin. Will there be a move down the inside? Uncle Mark, at the meantime, defending the inside line to Blue Dog, who's been making rapid progress on the number 78 car through the last lap and a half. And there's a huge accident in the background. There's a huge accident in the background. RPM gone. Yep, RPM gone, and it is Chase as well. No, it's not. It is RPM, and looks like maybe calculated risk as well. No, I can't even tell. I think it might just be that one car. It's RPM, absolutely gone, and I can't tell what's going on. Skippy with a penalty up in the P8, but those mistakes at turn 1, Ando, boy oh boy, are they costly.
Yeah, tragic there for RPM. Yeah, he's the one that got turned around and was facing the fence at about 150 kilometers an hour, and he was a passenger on his way to the scene of the accident there. So yeah, he might have been helped. He might not have. Yeah, he might. Yeah, but we didn't quite capture it on camera there. But yeah, that's the end of his race. But yeah, shenanigans as usual here in Div 2, George.
Oh, it is absolutely all over the place, and we've had a change for the lead. Blue Dog has made the move on Uncle Mark. We lost it on stream, and that's Legendary Berry serving another penalty. Sweeps back in, loses the position to Uncle Mark. Uncle Mark holds on to live another day in this race, now in P2. He needs to find a bit more pace. That last lap was scruffy. It's a 32.1. Everyone else is lapping in the 31s. And look at the three-way battle now. Marty McFarty and Dylan Scarborough looking up the inside. Legendary Berry's got nowhere to go. Little tap of the rear and hard on the brakes is Legendary Berry. Gets it done quite nicely, have to admit. So Legendary Berry now secures that position in P2. And Dylan Scarborough under attack now from Hodges. I don't even know where to look, Ando. This is mayhem, and I love it.
Yeah, this is great. Great stuff. Once again, the reverse grid just providing some awesome racing. And they're 3 wide into turn 3 there. And did they escape a penalty? Yeah, they did. It's race on. These guys are banging it out. I thought they'd sorted themselves out after lap 1, but I couldn't have been more wrong. They are just going for it, aren't they?
They are. I think it was well and truly the calm before the storm. And oh, Uncle Mark has a huge moment on the exit of Slosh Gold.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch that, but he's down into 4th now, which is unfortunate. He was looking so good. Come on, Marky Mark. Let's bring home a good result.
Indeed, let's bring home a result. And that was the broadcasting getting paused for one short moment there. As I cleared my throat from the microphone, broadcasting cameras decided to go away and just pause their coverage for a second there. My apologies. I don't even know where to look now. Looks like another penalty there for calculated risk. So he's in all sorts of trouble too.
What was that? He lost 4 spots then. That must have been a 1.5 second or something, George.
That's right, yeah. And looks like we've got a little bit of a problem with our replay camera. We'll try and get this all sorted, but unfortunately we're having inability to change between different cars, so we may be a little bit stuck here. So we may have to go to a short technical break before we get things going again. There won't be an interruption to the stream. Of course, that is a car miles off the screen. No idea who that was. Just try one more thing here and try and get the replay working. No, it looks like we're going to have to go to a very short technical break. Don't worry, folks. We will come back to you with coverage in a few moments' time. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I'm looking at Uncle Mark now, George. My stream's uninterrupted.
That's all right. We need to take a short technical break. We'll be right back. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and the coverage continues in Group B, and we're getting told we need to go straight back to the action, so here we go. So, where were we? Uncle Mark, of course, was in all sorts of trouble in this race, and we do have him still in P2 at the moment. Legendary Berry in P3, so we are going back just a little bit in the broadcasting. The race is ongoing, so they'll finish slightly before our coverage catches up to them, but we've managed to sort all the camera issues, which is fantastic, and the broadcasting team has managed to roll us back to a point in time so that we can continue. Legendary Berry makes the move on Uncle Mark, of course, a little bit earlier, and then, of course, it is Dylan Scarborough who's going to go for it. And this is where we basically got up to, Ando. All scrapping, all going for it at the moment. Calculated Risk and Legendary Berry, the two people on the grid right now with the most penalties served in this race. And they seem to have one every single lap.
Yeah, and that can't be good for your prospects, can it, for the race? But they just can't seem to sort themselves out. This mid-pack, they are really, really dicing like it's the end of the race or something, but it's crazy, but it makes for good viewing, that's for sure.
Oh, certainly does. And Uncle Mark loses the position there. He's got the inside line as they head through Worth. Dylan Scarborough can't make a move, but that's Calculated Risk on the outside line, doing his best Max and Verstappen impression. He does the outside line twice. Nicely done. That is a tricky line to get right.
Yeah, there's not much grip out there, George, I can tell you from experience.
Oh, but he served the penalty.
They serve a penalty, so it's all for naught. And he's lost, what's that, 5? Look at the number of cars going past him. That was unfortunate. That was an unfortunate penalty. He had a gaggle of cars. Yeah, he's gone way back down through the field, so he's got to start again, but he's got the pace to do it.
He's gone from P3 to P9 because there's 6 cars in between P3 and P9. Ooh. And Uncle Mark has picked up a penalty. There's a car flying off the other side there. It's P1 Skippy, gone very, very deep into turn 1. Calculator Risk makes up one position, easy as you like. But look at the scrap we've got on here from P3. This is all for the last podium position. In the meantime, Legendary Berry has caught up to the rear wing of Blue Dog and is challenging for the win of this race. I don't even know where to look. I don't think the camera crew know where to look as well. Absolute chaos in this race today. We'll try and find a decent camera angle of the action. Nearly 3 wide again. Dylan Scarborough covers off RPM. He's going to try down the outside, but there's contact. Madrick is sent into a spin. Marty McFarty is off as well, and we've got 2 cars in the gravel.
And Uncle Mark holds on to 3rd position. Come on, Marky Mark, let's do it, bro. He seems to be the slower car, but he's keeping it clean. Whilst the drivers around him are just making mistake after mistake, they're stumbling over each other. He does have a penalty to serve here, but I think he's got the gap to hold on to 3rd here. And here we are on lap 7 of the race. Oh, what's he going to do? Is he going to yield? No. Go on, get your elbows out, Marky. Oh, that was a bit much. But, old man, was it PP loses out there. He makes nose-to-tail contact with Mark, and yeah, he drops down and he's lost momentum too. He's going to lose maybe 2 spots. But Uncle Mark in 3rd, George. Look at this.
He's fantastic. I mean, it's the best bottle cap I've ever seen. He's really holding in. Oh dear, there goes Madrick. Madrick off in the background, and his race is in tatters as another car finds the Shadow Realm. RPM, we're looking at him now, RPM 808, trying to do his best, but he made massive contact to the rear wing of Uncle Mark, who's now battling to hold onto his position once again, defends beautifully around the outside. Hodges gets it wrong. Calculated Risk has taken a miscalculated risk, and around he goes, gets T-boned by the cars ahead, and this scrap is turning violent, Ando.
Oh, I see what you did there with the calculated risk. That was a good comment. Like the Jaws comment in round 1 with Brucey the Shark. I like it. But yeah, that was a miscalculated risk, unfortunately. And he might have once again got some help there in going around. But once that tail lets go of these Porsches, they are very hard to catch. So it's game on here for the mid-pack. I can't believe how much is going on. They just can't seem to sort themselves out, but they are going for it, and we love to see it.
Certainly do. Hodges sticks a nose in at the second to last corner, turn 9, and he's actually nearly got it done there, but Uncle Mark covers him off beautifully once again. I think we are big fans of this man. Uncle Mark go, you absolute beauty. This is fantastic racing. And Andrew, this is why we love Division 2. It's elbows out racing. It's really, really tooth and nail all the way through. And look at the scrap. Who knew? 6-car scrap for P3, and we had no idea how this is going to end.
Yeah, we love to see it. And, you know, the usual suspects, you know, this is not them. So Uncle Mark in 3rd spot now. If he can hold on to it, would be just awesome to see. And they're just not giving up. Look at these guys, too wide into turn 3. Just going for it now down into turn 4. Let's see what's going to happen here. P1 Skippy, who we know has got some pace in this division, he should be able to drive through this pack and get some clean air, but he just can't seem to do it. As we see someone go around there. Who was that? RP8. Unfortunate. Oh, and he pulls out. Oh, no, that was not a very safe re-entry, was it?
Oh, dear.
So,
yeah,
he was ghosted, then he wasn't.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky with the ghosting there, but it was an appalling rejoin at the end of the day. You've got to hold your brakes and just hold your line until the cars have gone through. Otherwise, it can end up in a situation like that where you're unghosted at the wrong time. Oh my goodness, we're taking a break by looking at the leaders for a moment here. Nice and quiet, peaceful up here with Legendary Berry and Blue Dog going at it for the P1 and P2 positions. Blue Dog, of course, lost that position earlier on. Now back to the action, and Skippy is up to 3rd place. He's made the move on Uncle Mark, and that is it. P1 Skippy, of course, coming from the back of the grid. So he has started in 15th place, up to 3rd. Impressive drive so far from this man. Uncle Mark now holding on to P4. Can he hold on? Who is that? That's Blue Dog. Blue Dog has had a huge issue somewhere, and he's now in P3.
Yeah, he was very slow there down that straight, and I don't know why. It's not a penalty zone.
Oh.
He must have got right out of shape through turn 1 or something, George.
Oh, that's right. And the rejoins are here and there, and they're everywhere. Blue Dog manages to scrap his way through turn 3. Now Hodges on the attack. Uncle Mark was sort of forced out wide by Blue Dog, going very, very deep into turn 3, so has lost a couple of positions there. Uncle Mark and, Troy Britnell and Hasseldine also going for it. Troy Britnell with a penalty. Madrick still trying to come back after getting spun earlier on in this race. And there's Robertson. And then there's Dylan Scarborough, who's clearly had an issue as well. We're about to come up to the pit stops. We're not even halfway through this race. Feels like I've been commentating for about 5 seconds in this race, but the amount of stuff that's been going on, I'm absolutely flabbergasted. Stunning work by Division 2 in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, we've seen some racing hits today, Hando, that is highly questionable.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes, but it makes for good viewing, George. That's the main thing. You know, these guys have made their fair share of mistakes. There's maybe a little bit for the stewards to look at. A lot of penalties being served, and that's serving to condense the pack down. The mid-pack still cannot sort themselves out, and they are just going for it. Ding-dong battles going on. Let's see if some undercuts or overcuts can be effective here.
That's right. 5 people going for essentially what is an overcut. Colin, Robinson, Madrick, Chase, Uncle Mark, and calculated risk actually as well. So make that 6. Dylan Scarborough in the pits, getting his refuel on now. Legendary Berry was the first in, and he'll be the first one out of the pits as well. 100% fuel on board. So he is making sure he can absolutely use every single bit of the throttle throughout the remainder of this race. Then it's Blue Dog out of the pits on only 87 litres. So one person going for a strategy saying, you know what, I'm just going to go hell to leather and just go for it. And Blue Dog saying, I'm going to be a little bit more calculated about this one. But he's got P1 Skippy in behind him, who took only about, that looks like about 76 litres of fuel.
Wow, yeah. So there's drastically different pit stops going on there. I'm not sure if you need 100 litres of fuel to finish this race. So that's maybe not optimal, but I'm thinking 76 might be a bit light on too.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And Hodges has taken nearly a full fuel tank. I will forever be stumped by those series of words. In comes Mitch Collin on 7 litres of fuel. He'll get his refueling going, as does Robinson, Madrick. So all the overcutters coming in for their pit stops. So it looks fairly spread out right now, but I can tell you, on the exit of turn 1, it is going to be spicy again. Get out the Kaitaya fire and get ready, because this is going to go one of 2 ways, Andrew. And Legendary Berry will have to hope that he's done enough.
Yeah, let's hope he's taken the right amount of fuel on, because normally the overcut wouldn't work. So, you know, I'm thinking that it's advantage legendary Berry at this stage, but if someone's pulled off a master stroke, they might be able to come out in front.
Oh, looks like no one has. Mitch Collin was the one who was in the lead in terms of refueling. Does come out in P2. Blue Dog just coming around the first corner. So Mitchell Collin actually has pulled out a rabbit from his hat, and he is right there with Blue Dog as they exit the pits. Blue Dog exiting turn 1, and yeah, Mitch Collin has absolutely done a genius move here with the overcut. Blue Dog took a lot of not a lot of fuel on board to manage to catch up a little bit on Mitchell Collin, but Mitchell Collin out of nowhere with a reasonably full tank as well. Misses an apex there. Might have cost himself that position that he's gained. Let's see. No, does get the power down. I think Mitchell Collin really is in the box seat, and we know how quick this man is. He's obviously got the strategy absolutely pinpoint perfect today.
Yeah, he must have had a blistering in-lap. Like, he was just egging for some clean air. And when he finally got it, he just set a blistering in-lap to end all in-laps. And he's now got plenty of fuel, fresh tyres, and track position. Well done, Mitch Collin.
Absolutely. P1 Skippy there, moving up into third place. Great move on Blue Dog. Takes the position away from him. But yeah, we're worried about the fuel deficit here for P1 Skippy. He must have had a sneak preview of the supercomputer, so to speak. Must have figured out exactly how much fuel he needs. Otherwise, he's almost certainly miscalculated, which would be an awful way for him to end what's been a great run of driving today, from 15th to 3rd so far in this race. And the question is, will he have enough fuel to really make it to the end while also challenging Mitchell Collin? I think P2 is well within the scope of the sights of P1 Skippy today. The background, Maverick and Hasseldine looking like they're going for it. Sorry, Maverick and Hodges fighting for P5. And yes, this battle pack hasn't disappeared. It's still there.
Yeah, it might have been reshuffled in a little slight fashion, but it's still there. So here we go again, folks. But now we've got fuel into the mix. So they all have to watch their fuel state. And P1 Skippy there, he looks to be a little bit down on fuel, but he's in the slip of P2, Mitch Collin. If he just sits there and bides his time, it might become a non-issue for him, and he'll make his move at the end.
Oh, 1 second penalty for Robinson for MotorMotion Racing Team. And just when he's in this great battle with Troy Britnell, that has put a serious damper on what could have been a bit of exciting racing for these two. Troy Britnell and Robinson, well known to each other. Good races, both of them. Of course, Troy Britnell, owner of Lightning Motorsport, showing us that fantastic livery that they've put together for this season of racing at the Carrera Cup. And in the number 55 car is him. He is. So, yeah, what a shame. 1 second penalty. Robinson will now serve that, and on through goes Troy Britnell. Easy overtake as you like, and Dylan Scarborough still trying to make up some time from a couple of mistakes he's made, and a couple of unforced issues as well. And one very forced issue at Sloshgold, when we saw his car off in the dirt with RPM. Oh, that's another car around there. Who is that? That's Hasseldine. Has made a mistake on the exit of turn 10 and picked himself up a penalty as well.
Yeah, luckily no damage, otherwise he would have had the full trifecta there. But yeah, he's obviously lost positions, lost a lot of time. But yeah, Marty McFarty, unfortunately, Dylan Scarborough, I thought he had a good pace here and was looking good for a podium, but unfortunately a few mistakes. So yeah, P1 Skippy there, Mitch Collin, that battle's going to be great. But Legendary Berry, let's see if he can pull off the win here.
Yeah, he's got a quite sizable lead here, probably 8 or 9 seconds on the board at the moment. So did well with the, he sort of, I don't want to say underfueled the car, but he's definitely put less fuel in the car. Sorry, no, I'm correcting myself here. He put a full tank of fuel in, if I remember correctly. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So he's used up a fair chunk of that already. We've got 8 minutes to go in this race. That leaves us with about 6 or 7 laps remaining in this race. Mitchell Collin, don't think he's making the progress he needs to. I mean, it needs to be a couple of seconds a lap now to be within spitting distance for an overtake, and I think he's worried more about the man behind him than anything.
Absolutely. He's going to have to rely on a mistake from the car in front. And yeah, his mirrors are full, aren't they? So P1 Skippy behind you, he's going to have to sort of focus on covering off P1 Skippy rather than catching Berry.
Nice overtake by Madrick, moves him up into P4 in this race. Blue Dog still struggling a little bit. I think the tyres shouldn't really be an issue at this stage, but you get to that point of wear, don't you, Ando, where it just doesn't feel the same, and you have to start adapting. And if you don't do that efficiently and quickly, you'll find yourself on the wrong side of grip quite quickly.
Yeah, well, you can temporarily overheat the tyres in this game, so the wear might not be too bad, but the tyre temperature will be over the limit, and you're going to have no grip into the next corner. So they have to manage that constantly throughout the race.
That's right. So big issues there if you overheat your tyres. In the meantime, we're going to go on board for a bit of a lap with P1 Skippy, who's right on the rear bumper now of Mitchell Collin. And Ando, it's your favourite track. Take us through the midsection and the rest of the lap.
Okay, I will in just a minute when I get back from the bar.
There we go. He's getting back from the bar, folks. It's standard Andrew Scott's tactics here.
You got me, George, you got me. But he's on the hammer here of P2. He's going to have a go here into turn 9, is he? No, he decides that discretion is the better part of valor. And now he sets himself up through the last corner here. You've got to get this corner right, get a good run onto the main straight. And he does that. He's well in the slip here. But let's see if he backs off here into turn 1, focuses on a good exit, and he might have a run on his opponent into turn 3. They both take turn 1 pretty well there, but it's status quo remains. I'm not sure if he's quite got the run on him to have a go, but you never know with Skippy, do you? He might lick a stamp and send it. No, decides to hold off. He's right on his hammer now. Now they go through turn 3. Once again, avoid the penalty on exit. Get the power down. First gear, second gear, third gear. Now into turn 4, a downhill right-hander. It's virtually a hairpin. Very damaging on the front tyres. You want to stay off the curb here into the braking zone. Then dive in. Oh, he's got a bit deep, and he's made contact, and around goes his opponent. No, he saves it. No, around goes Skippy. He's off into the sand.
I don't know what's happened there, Ando. I think he might have actually had contact from Madrick. They were going so slow. He might have had some contact there. No damage on the front of Madrick's car. So he must have just lost it on his own there.
Yeah, or there might have been a little bit of a tap from behind, because he totally, you saw the steering wheel turn very rapidly there to correct with no avail, obviously. But that might have been a little tap from behind. But might not be Madrick's fault. If P1 Skippy there looks to have instigated a bit of contact with the car in front, and that might be a racing incident. But definitely P1 Skippy, the big loser there.
Wow, so a huge switch up. In fact, literally just a direct switch in, switch out. Mitch Collin might have thought he got away with it after being tapped by P1 Skippy in turn 4. And Skippy is gone. He's in P9 now. He's in P9 now, yes. Yeah,
he went off into the sand, and he got really out of shape there, and he virtually came to a stop. And that's gonna you're gonna get swallowed up with this mid-pack, George. They would have swallowed him up big time.
That's right. We've got about more than half the field separated by a couple of seconds on track, and yet again the overcast skies come in, casting a bit of a shadow over that sun that's been bearing down on the track for the entire race. 26 minutes through, we've got a few laps left in the race, and now it's going to be the question as whether Madrick can make his move on Mitch Collin. He was really close there to having a bit of an accident and tapping the rear of Mitch Collin, who looks like he's really struggling on the tyres right now. Mitch Collin having a real disaster. Defends the inside line. No, goes to the outside into turn 9. Will Madrick have a little look down the inside? He's thinking about it. He's having a real think about it. He's actually gone and done it. Has he done it for turn 10? Yes, he has. Side by side through turn 10. Who's going to get the power down? And both of them do. Ando, side by side racing through 9 and 10. You hardly ever see it.
Wow, and no penalty there. And Madrick, my hat's off to him. But it's not over yet, folks. They're going to send it into turn 1. Surely Madrick will prevail, and he does. But I tell you what was that? That was about 5 corners, George. Just fantastic racing. My hat's off to these guys. No penalty, no track limit, no contact, and it's not over yet. And Mitch Collin comes back at Madrick, dives into turn 3. makes a beautiful move on him, and away he goes. Look, he's driving away from him.
Wonderful stuff. And remember, folks, this is the battle for P2 in this race. Legendary Berry truly checked out in this one at the moment. That's why we've not focused the camera on him. Red hot brakes for Mitch Collins as he heads it through the downhill section of Slosh Gold. And a moment on exit for Maverick, who's overcooked things slightly. And he's got a lot of work to do in the next couple of laps. It all started here, actually, a lap ago, where they started to go side by side, and they were absolutely inseparable all the way up through to the exit of turn 3, where Mitch Collins got the move back done on Maverick. Wonderful racing we're seeing here. Division 2. We had the calm before the storm, Ando. We had the first bleeding edge of the storm. Then we ended up in the eye of the storm, and I tell you what, we are right back in the thick of it now.
Yeah, look at them. They're all in each other's slip here. This mid-pack in Div 2, I love it. I love what these guys are doing. They are going for it. And that little exchange there between Mitch Collins and Maverick, that was the best piece of racing I've seen in a long time. That was fantastic. They both managed to avoid a penalty. They both managed to avoid contact. They were side by side through about 5 corners in a row, and 5 of the toughest corners you'll find in GT7 as well. So, yeah, well done, guys. That was beautiful stuff. I'm excited.
This is great stuff. So we are now coming up. I think this might even be the last lap of this race. We've got 1 minute and 3 seconds to go. And Calculator Risk trying to make a little bit more headway in this race. Had a lot of potential in this race, of course, but unfortunately squandered it in the combination of penalties, unforced errors, and accidents that he was involved in. Uncle Mark, oh, I'm so gutted for this man right here. Started on pole position, held on so well, absolutely was in line for a driver of the day, but he's down in P13. Unlucky 13 for him. Fly in P14 with another penalty, and RPM also having a disaster today. But look at this, 30 seconds to go. I think we might get one more lap here, Ando, but everyone else in the field is going to be absolutely finished. Let's keep an eye on this. 25 seconds to go. Coming into the last corner, Red Bull Mobile Curve, turn 10. And yeah, looks like Legendary Berry will be going for a glory lap, and we refocus now on these battles, because I don't think they'll be across the line in time. 10 seconds to go. Yes, they might well be. They might well be going for another lap as well. Let's see.
Here we go.
Yep, one more lap for all of them.
Race on.
Fantastic. Okay, here we go.
And look at them all together as well. So if one little mistake happens, then you've just lost your P2 or your P3 position. There's 2 podium spots remaining and 3 cars fighting for it. So there's going to be one big loser out of all of this. Let's see what happens.
Oh, here we go. Brett Streitling is in the mix as well, trying to make the move on Maverick. Maverick holding on to that last podium position. So it's not over yet, folks, and Maverick has got a lot of work to do, because Corey Britnell is rapid. Got plenty of fuel on board. Maverick's got enough to get through this lap. Mitch Collins overfueled the car massively at the end of this race. He looks like he's pretty much set. Maverick is trying to defend down the inside. A little bit of contact into the braking zone, and Troy Britnell's got to try again. Fantastic work by these two, and Maverick now holding that inside line as we head towards Worth.
Oh, he's having a look, Britnell. He wants that podium spot. He really does. He's really asking the question of Maverick, but Maverick's responding at each opportunity, and he's closing him off perfectly. Very nice defensive driving. It looks like Mitch Collins has driven away and secured P2, but now they come on into turn 8 now? Or turn 9. There's only a couple of corners remaining, and Legendary Berry comes across for the win, a decisive win, and Mitch Collins, P2 flashing the lights, and Maverick holds on to P3. Well done, Maverick.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's a happy man, Mitch Collins. Legendary Berry, what a great win for him today, and the last few cars come across the line, and that is your Division 2 race. Unbelievable stuff that we've just seen there. So Chip Berry on top. Great stuff from him. Really quiet race compared to the rest of the field. Well and truly night and day. Then it's Mitch Collins in P2, stoked with that result for Collins Racing Team. Then it's Ricky Atwell for Diffusion Race Engineering, Troy Britnell for Lightning Motorsport, Richard Robinson in P5 for MotorMotion Racing Team, followed by Mark Hogan for Whom Corp Esports. Then it's Graham Splint for CP2. Dave Chucky, of course, nearly got onto the podium as well, but he had a bit of an unfortunate accident, and that cost him massively, and looks like Madrick may be going to the stewards room after this one as a result of that, but so will Dave Chucky. Nonetheless, 8th position for him, followed by Dylan Scarborough in P9, Mark Hasseldean in P10, Aidan Chase in P13, Marcel Albertin, who we've seen return to the grid at last for Black Rose Racing, Mark Scarborough, a privateer in this league, and then Bryce Kentwell, Bob Massey for One Bite Racing, and then the only DNS here today, Stephen Harrison from Hive IQ Engineering. So 15 cars on the grid, Ando. We almost saw another last to first. It didn't happen, but what a race. I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something about Div 2, isn't it? Like, it's a little bit less predictable than Div 1. You know, Div 1's a bit cleaner, a little bit more predictable, but Div 2, it just brings the excitement every time we watch it. It's my new favorite division to watch. I really love it. And these guys really send it. Like, they really do send it. They take this stuff seriously, and they're putting every effort into it, and it's really, really great to watch. So yeah, I love it.
And we converted you, of course, during the TCR Cup in 2024, telling you that Division 2 is where the action happens, and you're certainly a believer now, that is for sure. I love it.
I'm a believer.
You're a believer. He's a believer, ladies and gentlemen. We hope we're your believers too. Of course, we appreciate the incredible skill on display in Division 1, but it's just the amount of action in Division 2 that keeps us coming back over and over again. Fantastic racing. Congratulations to all our winners today. Ando, let's talk driver of the day. Some really good performances out there. I'm tempted to give it to Chip Berry. I really wanted to give it to Uncle Mark, who finished down, I think it was in P13. I'll double check that, of course. I think it was Mark Scarborough. But today, honestly, I think Mitchell Collin deserves my driver of the day vote. How about you?
Yeah, P2 from where he started, and with all the chaos that was going on, absolutely a great effort. Chip Berry also to pull off the win, awesome. But I'm going to go out on a limb here, George. I don't know if driver of the day has ever been awarded to P13, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to give it to Marky Mark, because he held on there for almost half the race, and he was so good at defending and keeping it clean, staying out of trouble. You know, it was only half of the race, but I'm still going to give it to him. My driver of the day is Uncle Mark.
Fantastic stuff. I absolutely echo those sentiments as well. Let us know in chat who your driver of the day is on what was a chaotic, hectic, and absolutely brilliant Division 2 race here for Round 4, Season 3. And that is going to, of course, round out our coverage for Season 3, Round 4 at the Red Bull Ring. Looking forward to, of course, going to St. Croix B in the coming Round 5, and then, of course, Bathurst. So Round 5, Round 6 coming to your screens very, very soon. Thank you all for watching today. Really appreciate it. Ando, give us some final thoughts on what's been a brilliant day of racing. Red Bull Ring has absolutely turned it on for us.
Yeah, it has, George. Always a great track for Group 3 racing, and two totally different stories today. Group 1, Division 1, nice clean racing, blistering lap times. We saw some 28s from Donetti, which is just unbelievable pace. But then Div 2, all the shenanigans, all that sort of excitement with the battle of the mid-pack there. Lots of penalties, lots of comings together. So, yeah, all in all, just two great races today.
Fantastic stuff. And of course, massive thanks to yourself, Andrew Scott, for jumping in as co-commentator today. Done an absolutely fantastic job. Give him a round of applause in chat as well, ladies and gentlemen. My name is George Cook, CEO of TrackSpotTV, and it's our privilege at TrackSpotTV to be broadcasting partners with MotorMotion E-Series, bringing you all the live action here in 2025. Go and check us out on TrackSpot.tv. A big thanks to Sterling Parts for sponsoring the Carrera Cup for Season 3. And of course, massive thank you to MotorMotion E-Series for putting on this event and doing such a great job of it. What brilliant racing we're having. And we are so looking forward to Season 3, Round 5, coming up to your screens in a few days' time, we're hoping. So nonetheless, a massive thanks for all of us here. Take care out there, stay safe, and we will, of course, see you for the next one. Goodbye.